They say the lucky ones die on the battlefield, but what about the ones who don't? In the endless wars of the 41st millennium, soldiers fall by the millions, bones shattered, lungs burned by plasma, flesh torn apart by Xeno's claws. Yet some survive long enough to be carried away on rusted stretchers, to the medicae tents and ships of the Imperium, to the cold metallic halls where screams echo behind sealed doors. These are the forgotten souls of the Imperium, the wounded, the broken, the half-dead. They are not heroes, nor martyrs. They are what's left, and this is their story. Sergeant Kalen Dravik was once a proud soldier of the Cadian 143 RD, his voice once carried over the thunder of lost guns, commanding his men to hold the line against the green tide of orcs that had drowned their world. But now, that voice was gone, replaced by the rasp of breath through a respirator, his body shattered by shrapnel from an exploding basilisk shell. When he awoke, there was no sky. Only steel. The medicae bay was dim, the light flickering as servitors shuffled by, half-human, half-machine creatures that no longer spoke, only obeyed. Around him lay rows of wounded guardsmen, some missing limbs, others missing faces. The smell of burned flesh mixed with antiseptic oil. Where's my squad?" he whispered. A figure turned, a woman in a white robe, the red symbol of the Adeptus Mechanicus emblazoned on her shoulder. "They fought bravely," she said softly. "You're the only one left." Kalen closed his eyes. He wished he hadn't asked. Days turned to weeks. He watched as the other wounded were taken away, one by one. Some were repaired, given crude augmetics and sent back to the front lines. Others were deemed unsalvageable, their bodies too broken to fight again, yet too alive to waste resources on. Those ones were never seen again. Rumors spread among the injured. They whispered of black-armored surgeons who came at night, the Mugos biologists, harvesting organs and flesh for the Emperor's service. Some said the wounded became servitors, stripped of thought, their minds erased, their bodies fused with metal. Others said they were turned into living test subjects for new weapons, their pain feeding the machine god's curiosity. Kalen didn't believe it, until the night he saw it. He awoke to screams, raw, human screams that didn't sound like soldiers. Through the crack of the medicae door, he saw a gurney wheeled by, a man still alive, begging. His face twisted in horror as mechanical arms descended upon him. A tech priest's voice echoed coldly, "Flesh is weak. The Emperor requires the strong." That night, Kalen understood the truth. In the Imperium of man, even survival was a curse. Still, a part of him refused to die quietly. When the medicae woman, her name was Astra, came to change his bandages, he whispered, "Please, help me leave." Her eyes flickered with something human, something forbidden. "Do you know what you're asking?" she said. "I'd rather die free than live like this." She didn't answer. But the next night, the door to his cell was left unlocked. They fled into the underdecks, the forgotten layers beneath the hospital ship Mercy of Dawn. There, in the shadowed corridors where light never reached, Kalen saw what became of the unsalvageable. Dozens of broken soldiers, amputees, burn victims, blind psychers, hiding among leaking pipes and rusted servitor husks. They called themselves the Ghosts of Dawn. They were the ones who had escaped salvation. They survived on stolen rations and whispered prayers to the Emperor, praying he still remembered them. Astra had been helping them for months. Each time the Mugos sent more bodies to the reclamation bays, she smuggled a few out, pretending they'd died on the table. She had seen too much: the vivisections, the experiments, the way the wounded were fed into machines in the name of the Omnicia. But helping them meant death if discovered. One day, that death came. The Mugos found the ghosts. The halls burned with the shriek of alarms and the stomp of Scutarii boots. Kalen, still weak, took up a rusted Las pistol. His left arm was augmetic now, crude but strong. "Get them out," he shouted to Astra. "I'll hold them." She hesitated, her eyes wide with fear and something more. "You can't go," he roared. "For once in this damned galaxy, let something live." The ghosts fled through maintenance ducts, the wounded helping the dying. Kalen fired until the pistol overheated, then used his metal fist until they took him down. When the Muggos approached, Kalen spat blood and whispered, "You'll never own all of us." The tech priest tilted his head. "You are irrelevant. Your flesh will serve." The last thing Kalen saw was Astra's face in the distance, vanishing into the dark, carrying the wounded towards some unknown world. Weeks later, in the lower decks of a forgotten planet, Astra and the ghosts built a hidden refuge, a home for those the Imperium had discarded. They had no banners, no orders, no gods who listened, but they had each other, and somewhere in the void, stories began to spread among the guard. Rumors of a ship where the wounded were saved, where broken soldiers became whole again in spirit, if not in body. They called it the Sanctuary of Dawn, because even in the darkness of the 41st millennium, some wounds can still heal, if someone dares to care. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war, but sometimes, among the screams and silence, there's a heartbeat that refuses to stop, and maybe, that's what makes us human.